consumption from sustainable use. As per reserve, Project Elephant 1992, Conservation of Elephant, Project Tiger 1973, Conservation of Bengal Tiger, Wild Protection Act 1972, protects flora and fauna in India, protect flora and fauna, Indian hotspot, Himalaya, Indo-Burma, Western Ghats, Sundarban. Indian hotspot, Himalaya, Indo-Burma, Western Ghats, Sunderland. Himalaya, Indo-Burma, Western Ghats, Sunderland. Wildlife Protection Act 1972, protect flora and fauna in India. Protect flora and fauna in India. Wildlife Protection Act. Hotspot, Himalaya, Indo-Burma, Western Ghats, Sunderland. Indian hotspot. India biodiversity rank 8 globally for hotspot. 8 globally. Indian biodiversity rank. Red Data Book list of threatened species by IUCN. List of threatened species by IUCN. IUCN Union for Conservation Nature. Endangered species. High risk of extinction. IUCN Red List. Endangered. Red Data Book of list of threatened species. IUCN International Union for Conservation Nature. Endangered species means high risk of extinction. IUCN Red List. Extinct species means non-living individual left. Dodo. Invasive species means non-native. Invasive. They spread aggressively. Lantana. Endemic species means found only in one area. Species. Hotspot, high endemism. Threat. Hotspot. Western Ghats, endemism. Found in only one area. Endemic species. Biodiversity, variety of life at genetic species. Biodiversity, variety of life at genetic species ecosystem level. Biodiversity, variety of life at genetic species. Variety of species ecosystem level. Genetic diversity, variety of genetic variations, variation in genes with species. Variation of species, variation of genes within species. Species diversity, variation of species, number for abundance of species. Ecosystem diversity means variety of habitats and ecological. Variety of habitats and ecological process. Ecosystem diversity means variety of habitats. Hotspot means high endemism. Threats, high endemism. Ecosystem service. Ecosystem service means benefits human gets. Ecosystem benefits human gets from ecosystem. Example, pollination. Ecosystem service. Based from ecosystem. Ecosystem service. Competition. Two species use same limited resources. Two species competition in the same habitats. Limited resource. Predation. One organism kills and eats another. Parasitism. One benefit the other harm. Parasitism. Tapeworm. Roundworm. Commensalism. Two lived, one benefits, other unaffected. Barnacles. On whale, barnacles. Mutualism. Both species benefit. Bees, flower. Bees living upon flower, flower also. Pollinations. Bioaccumulations. Intoxicant. Toxins. Accumulation of toxins in organism over time in an organism. Biomagnification. Increasing in toxins concentration at a higher trophic level. Biomagnification. Bioaccumulation means in toxins is accumulated, collected organism over time. accumulation. By magnification, accumulation. By magnification. In trophic level, toxins increasing by magnification. Concentration of or higher trophic level. Higher trophic level concentration of toxins. Increasing of concentration of the toxins. Accumulation means by accumulation means accumulation of toxins in organism over time. Age effect. Age. Actually, age effect. Age effect. Age effect means greater biodiversity at equatorial boundaries. Greater biodiversity. Biodiversity, different diversity at equatorial boundaries. Age effect. Equatorial transition zone between the two ecosystem. Two ecosystem between one water and mountain, lake and mountain. Within the ecosystem is ecotone. See greater biodiversity at ecotone boundaries. There are greater biodiversity. Keystone species, disproportionate effect on ecosystem. Keystone species, tiger. Indicator species reflect environment health and lichens for air. Reflect environment health, lichens for air. Reflect environment health. Keystone. Lichens होची indicator reflect environment health. जो indicator species lichens for air. Keystone means disproportionate effect on ecosystem. Tiger. Carrying capacity makes maximum population environment can sustain. Maximum population environment can sustain. Secondary succession. After disturbances soil present. Primary succession. On barren land with no soil. Primary succession. Secondary succession. After disturbance soil present. Succession. Gradual change in species over time. Gradually changing species over time. Succession. Primary succession means primary barren land with no soil. Vegetations. After disturbance of soil presence. Water cycle, evaporation, condensation. Phosphorus cycle, no gaseous phase. Cycles via rock, soil, water. Reduce emission from reduce emission from deforestation, degradation, reduce emission, deforestation, degradation. IPCC IPCC 1.5 degree Celsius report 2018 one severe impact above 1.5 degree Celsius global warming. Methane plays global target to cut methane 30% by 2030. Methane pledge, methane target, global target 30%. Coal phase out to reduce coal used to cut CO2 emission. Coal phase out. Reduce coal used to cut CO2 emission. Reduce coal used to cut CO2 emission. Reduce coal used to cut CO2 emission. Reduce coal or CO2. Electric vehicles. Reduce transport sector emission. Reduce transport sector emission. Transport sector emission. Reduce. Carbon capture. Technology to trap CO2 from emission. Carbon capture. Technology to trap CO2 from emission. Electric vehicles. Reduce transport sector emission. Carbon capture technology for to trap CO2 from emission. SDG, climate action, unsustainable development goal. Climate action 13. Earth Day 22 April to SDG 12 consumption. World environment. Climate litigation and lawsuit to force climate action. NAPCC National Action Plan on Climate Change 2008. Mission Life Lifestyle for Environment 2022. Pro Planetary Actions Lifestyle for Environment. Green hydrogen produced using renewable electricity. Green hydrogen produced using renewable electricity. Green hydrogen. Climate finance climate fund for mitigation and adaptation in developing nation. Fund for mitigation and adaptation in developing nation. Climate finance. Loss of damage, compensation for unavoidable climate impacts. Climate impacts. Climate justice. Fair burden sharing between rich and poor nations. Common but different responsibility. CBDI principle. In UN United Nations framework. Climate change. Convention on climate change. Common but differentiated responsibility. Carbon budget means remaining CO2 we can emit for 1.5 degree Celsius target. Emit carbon budget. Net zero balance emission with removals. Climate smart agriculture. Resilient low emission farming practices. Resilient low emission farming practices. Low emission farming practices. Early warning system. Predict cyclones, heat waves for adaptation. Predict cyclones, heat waves for adaptation. Climate resilience. Ability to recover from climate shocks. Nature-based solution. Use ecosystem for mitigation. The mangrove. Early warning system and predict cyclones, heat waves for adaptation. Climate smart agriculture. Resilient low emission farming practices. Low emission. Net zero. Balance emission with removals. Balance emission with removals. Zero. Carbon budget. Remaining CO2 we can emit.